Folks, it is 6 o'clock. Ms. Sharon, can we call this meeting to order, please?
Bublitz. Here. Cook. Here. LaPlante. Absent. Rowley.
Present.
Taylor.
Here.
Wardenski. Here. Divorce. Here.
Thank you. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. At this point, I will ask for an agenda review.
Have a few things. Consent agenda, item C, we have to correct the dollar amount to $920,186.40. The agenda was done a little early and we had to pay another invoice. Item L, we are going to add approval to reallocate $23,277.89 that was approved for the purchase of a chest compression system to purchase a spreader and cutter tool in the amount of $23,245. If everybody remembers, a grant was awarded to the fire department that is going to pay for the new chest compression system. Item M, approve recommendation from the Bay County Department of Water and Sewer to discontinue billing a sewer debt charge for 57 Bayshore Drive effective 6/26/24. Under new business, 11D, we're going to add part-time appraiser position. 11E, we're going to add approval of a Class B recreational marijuana permit for Hadson LLC located at 4412 Ace Commercial Court. And 11F, discussion of fee waiver for Auntie Anne's Cinema.
Is there any other additions? Hearing none, I am going to open up the floor for public input on agenda items. This is your opportunity to address the board on agenda items only. There will be a time later in the meeting where public input on anything that you'd like to talk about. So public input going once. Public input going twice. Third time, we will now close public input and we will move on to an agenda approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor with an aye, please?
Aye.
Opposed with a nay? The agenda is approved. We'll also ask for a consent agenda approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended. Second.
We have a motion, we have support. Do we have any discussion? All in favor with an aye, please?
Aye.
Opposed with a nay? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. I do not have an engineering report, so let us move on to pending business. We will start out with the chief's report. Chief Gloner, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you.
Chief, I see you have a special guest with you today.
We've snuck in a special guest, as long as you guys don't mind.
Absolutely not.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Ms. Brittany, go ahead and introduce yourself, my dear.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm currently the American Road of Beauty's Miss Michigan. I wanted to stop in. I'm from Bangor Township. We live right behind John Glenn. I am a John Glenn alumni and an SVSU alumni, so I really try and kind of get out in the community. I donated a goodie bag today to the fire department, and we also stopped into our local police department today as well. So I just wanted to stop in and introduce myself formally. So I'm Brittany, hello, and I'll be competing at the national competition at the end of July. So I'll be kind of in and around the community in the next couple weeks to just kind of do a little bit more community service and outreach as well.
Very good. Brittany, it's nice to meet you. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe we could come over and say hi.
Yeah.
Captain Shook, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Chief Gloner, beat that. sir.
I can't, but
Just saying.
we'll let you know that last month the fire department responded to 220 calls, which brings our year-to-date total to 1,205, which thankfully is still below where we were at last year at this time. We had 65 overlapping incidents, which accounted for about 29% of the call volume. Just to speed this along, we are partnering with Paul Davis Fire Restoration and hosting a blood drive next week, July 16th at the Bangor Township Hall. So please join us and donate some life-saving blood. We have also posted for the vacant float position on the career staff. Applicants have until the end of this week to notify me that they're interested in the job, and then we'll be doing testing near the end of the month to cover that. We have also posted for the vacant captain's position with the recent promotion of Captain Tennant. Captain Assistant Chief Fire Marshal Tennant asked that we would hold off the badge painting until next month when his social calendar allows for it. And then our new mini pumper that we've been anxiously waiting to get into service went into service today. It went on its first call earlier this morning, and we have a 2-week window for the state to get our virtual inspection done so that it will be a fully licensed EMS response vehicle. And that is pretty much all I have for you.
Are there any questions? Chief Leonard, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, we will move on to our committee and commission reports. Do we have a report for the Zoning Board of Appeals? For Trustee LaPlante's absence, we'll work on getting that to you by the next meeting. Planning Commission, Trustee Taylor.
Thank you. June 26th, we had a meeting with a couple items on the agenda. There was a request for a special exemption permit and site plan specifically for private stables at the property 3310 State Street Road. We approved that for up to 3 horses. Request for site plan approved at the Bangor Township Property LLC for property at 2429 2 Mile. That was also approved. And that is all we had for the Planning Commission.
Is there any questions? Trustee Taylor, thank you. DPW Committee, Madam Treasurer.
Nothing to report.
Parks and Recreation, Trustee Cook.
I see we've got bass tournament coming up in September, so that's exciting.
These have been great boats. Folks, the top bass tournaments. We usually have a tournament every spring and every fall. Good friends. The other thing we saw on the consent agenda is the triathlon again. So that's always a fabulous event where it's do everything except get wet. So instead of swimming, you're in a canoe or a kayak. So that's some exciting stuff. Very good. Fire Department Infrastructure Committee, Madam Treasurer.
I will let you give the update. Oh, and the
All
supervisor's report. So.
I will. Now I'm all taken. All right, so with that, we will move on to our board reports. And I will start out with the supervisor's report. So I have some very exciting news. We have the quitclaim deed signed by Governor Gretchen Whitmer and me, as well as the keys. We are now the proud owner of a former state police post. I would also like to publicly thank firefighter Mike Sarnowski, who donated $1 for the township for the fund this transaction. So as you speak to your residents, you can look them straight in the eye and say, not a single taxpayer dollar was used for this purchase. So there's a lot of work now to happen. So I'm looking forward to hearing what recommendations the Fire Department Infrastructure Committee has to share with us. So lots of work to be done. So I just wanted to let you know that it's after all of this time, we finally got it done. So excitement there. Months ago when we were working on the budget, I made mention of possible refunds from our insurance carrier. With that in mind, I'm very pleased to announce we will be receiving a refund check from MMRMA for the amount of $6,227. The last 2 months, we've approved resolutions for the new FEMA flood zones. These will take effect on July the 31st. Whereas this is going to ease the burden on many properties, much of the township is still very prone to standing water. After a rain event, it can take days for water to dissipate through our drain system. I say this on the eve of when the remnants of Hurricane Beryl are going to arrive. So we could easily have more than 2 inches of rain that are going to be here within a 24-hour period of time. Evidence has shown us with just an inch of rain, it will take days for this water to work through the system. If we double that, it's going to be a mess. So National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for our area from 11 o'clock tonight till 8 o'clock tomorrow. This is a great time to make sure the sump pumps are working, get the things off the floor from the basement or the garage, make sure the storm drains are not clogged. So this is a good time to prepare for this. Flooding possibilities remind me of the numerous flooding events we had years ago and all the piles of trash from flooded basements and flooded garages that were all over the place. Combine that with rummage sale season, and perhaps it's time to talk about a cleanup event. We have in our contract with WM, they will provide us with a roll-off at no charge. Thinking maybe the end of this month or beginning of next month, and I was looking at August the 7th or 2nd, which is a Friday. Maybe have probably a bad idea. We'll find another date on that one. But,
Yeah, sorry, my face.
No. It's all right. There's something going on a couple of days after that. So after the election, let's look at having a roll-off at the north end of the parking lot. We'll just leave it there until it's full, and then we'll have to pick that up. So look for more information on that soon. Lastly, I am very pleased to share with you that the My Tax proposal, the one that would eliminate all property taxes, did not receive the sufficient signatures required to place the constitutional amendment on the ballot. So deep breath, we don't need to worry about that one. So while the effort was not successful, I fully expect future attempts for a similar constitutional amendment. As local officials, we've got to continue to work to ensure our residents understand the importance of funding local governments and the vital services that we provide. Because as I said, you can only imagine how, we use the word handicap, but limited we would be to provide services with about 20% of the income coming in. So that's great news. Unless you have any questions, that will conclude my supervisor's report. We will move on to the clerk's report. Madam Clerk.
Okay, we've issued 2,540 ballots. That was earlier today, so I'm sure my number's off by now. And earlier today, we'd already received 85 ballots. So I'm sure by election day, we'll be over 3,000. With the millage question coming up on the August ballot, I just wanted to clarify to everybody, there's some confusion and I understand why. The 2 mills that was dedicated to the fire millage that was approved in 18 expired December 31st of 23. So if this millage is approved, it will be 3 mills for the next 4 years. It's not 3 mills plus 2 mills, it's 3 mills. For the last 2 years, we've only collected 1.9872 mills due to the Hadley rollback. In 2023, the millage collected approximately $893,000 and the fire department budget was $1.9 million. Millage covered approximately 45% of their budget. Just factual, every year there's cost increases due to aging and inefficient fire stations, maintaining and purchasing future equipment, insurance, liability, health, work comp. In 2023, 79% of the budget in the fire department was for wages, benefits, and insurance. Good news though, we were able to replace a 1997 Pierce engine with a 2021 Rosenbauer engine, and then we just recently replaced a 2000 Pierce and our Rescue 6 with a 2024 mini pumper using millage monies. And then every year we restrict general fund money for new equipment and buildings in anticipation of future needs in the fire department. So the millage money is being well used. Doesn't nearly cover the budget for the fire department, but my main thing was to clarify that it's not an additional 3 mills on top of the 2 mills. So being as everything is factual that's on here, we are allowed as a township to publish this, put it on our Facebook, put it on our webpage. I just think the more we can get out there that this is not an additional 3 mills. Carrie did put something out on our sign out here. I realize you have to be stopped to see it all, but even if 4 voters see it and spread the word, it helps. So
The key thing here is provide factual information. We cannot sway, persuade, lead. All we can do is give factual information.
And we've had, I've personally taken a couple phone calls from voters since the ballot went out asking me just that question. I voted for this. Is this 3 mills for something else for the fire department? And I said, no, that 2 mills expired. Oh, they expired? I've had a couple people say that. And I said, yeah, look on your ballot. This one says 2024 to 27, and this particular voter had no idea. So she voted for it the last time. She goes, okay, well, I'm going to vote for it then. I said, okay, thank you. And, that was the end of our conversation. But at least voters are calling. So
is that something you can share with us
so we
Absolutely.
can share accurate information if we're asked?
Yes,
Okay,
for sure.
thank you.
I found myself clearing that up with someone too. They're like, "Oh, three." It's just three.
Yes.
It's just weirder the way it has to be worded, like that, like it had to be worded that way because it's
You said we're
increasing it from 0 to 3.
Yeah.
So it's just as weird the way it had to be worded.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. So all we can do, but yes, I will definitely email all of you this or put a copy in your box so you all have it. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Is there any questions? All right, we will move on to the treasurer's report. Madam Treasurer.
Taxes came out last week and it's been busy. So just running around with that right now. That's all I've got.
Very good. Any questions? All right, moving on to the trustees' report, and the deputy treasurer picked this evening's order, so we will start out with trustee Yaworski.
I do not have it.
We do not have one from trustee LaPlante. Trustee Cook.
I just would like to know, I don't know if I can do that, what the board thinks about cutting grass that's owned by the state, that's in Bangor Township, that the state doesn't cut. And I know it's about budget, I know it's about expenses, but we've got areas that I feel like make our township look bad because, and I know someone who does it personally, like carts his tractor and cuts a section of grass because it's the entrance to Bangor Township and he thinks it should look nice. And it's unfortunate. I'm proud of him for doing that and I thank him when I see him because somebody decided to point it out in a conversation and put me on the spot a little bit. But I don't know how that works and I just would love to see our township look great and I don't know how that works. So just my 2 cents.
I'll just ask for some clarification. You said it's on state property?
I believe it's the section where Huron and Euclid split. And so Euclid's a state.
That's a state highway under the direction of
Yeah.
Michigan Department of
Yep.
Transportation.
And I understand that, and I know that there's rules. Like I said, that's a main corridor coming into Bangor, and I just.
Your question is, can we use Bangor
Well, the
Township?
state of Michigan contracted with the Bay County Road Commission
Oh,
to
so the road
to
commission.
mow there.
Okay.
But along M25 in US 10, and this was I believe, a few years ago, the state said, please stop cutting the grass and going with the natural flow. So it
Okay.
just kept growing. So I don't know where the status of that is right now, but I
Okay.
will be more than happy to reach out to the state, see what we can do, and then the county. The other thing with those two entities, we don't have the horsepower for this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'd love to do it, but Tim's kind of thinking, no, we don't have the horsepower to
Okay.
pull this one off. But let me reach out to our friends at the state and the county and see what can be done with that.
Okay.
And if there's any other areas that are not giving a great welcome sign, please let me know.
I will, thank you.
All right. Anything else?
That is all.
Very good. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Trustee Taylor.
I do not have any report.
Very good. All right, we'll move on to new business, and we'll begin with some budget adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the budget adjustments as presented.
Support.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Sharon, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Bordinsky,
Yes.
Bublitz,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Taylor,
Aye.
LaPlante absent, Cook,
Yes.
Rowley.
Aye. Very good, that is approved. We'll move on to legal services. Go right ahead.
Okay, it's been a few years since we went out to bid for our legal services, and Dawn and Gary and I were talking about it. I've had my own issues with our attorneys, even when Justin was still with them. Justin has left now. We seem to be having even more issues with Rich doing stuff that we're not authorizing him to do and going beyond the scope of what we've asked him to do. So I just thought it might be a good time to do another RFP for legal services. We use, not Mine Underfits, we use Saggy Schultz for a lot of our Michigan Tax Tribunal cases in the assessing office. And working with them is like night and day for what I have to work with Smith and Brooker on and all that stuff. So that would be one of the ones that I would recommend that we put out to. The drawback is they're not local, like Smith and Brooker are. But that doesn't, I'm not saying that that's the only one we put the bid out to, but I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. We're having some issues with the attorneys, and I thought it might be a good time to go out to bid and see what other options are out there. So I'm open to other options, any other firms that we might want to send an RFP to as well.
Most of what we do doesn't require them here anyways.
No.
Like our labor attorney's not local either, but we don't often have them here. We do most of our stuff via the phone or the computer.
And I think one of the things that we enjoyed working with Smith and Brooker, we have a firm, but there was one attorney in particular that we worked with. So got used to working with them. They knew what our needs were, and it just worked. So when he left the firm, now it's somebody new. So now it's all different, and well, that's not how they do it in this other township. And it's like, well, we don't care about that other township. So this is a great opportunity to see what's out there. And it may be after this search we say, all right.
And I would have
Well, we'll come to-
appreciated
yeah.
a letter stating, it's been nice working with you, but I'll no longer be your attorney. I didn't know he was gone. So it's like, oh, great.
Because it's the firm, not that person, is
Yeah.
how it is. Yeah,
Correct.
so they're probably looking at it as
Yeah.
like no difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, unfortunately, the person that has taken over, like I said, had, in the short amount of time, we've had a few instances where they're doing their own thing. They are not doing what we have directed them to do. They're, I don't know. I don't know where he's getting his ideas from. Yeah, going off on tangents. So
Either way, I think the best thing for us to do right now is let's see what's out there. So I believe a motion to. I'm sorry.
More just for the request, I'm no grammar master, but just in that request, the township, I understand that said in parentheses and quotations township to let you know that we're going to use township instead of Bangor Township. I just can't figure out why we put full service in parentheses in 2 locations. It almost seems like it's showing irony or sarcasm.
I have no idea. That's how it was
So
drafted.
it can be like that?
Drafted 5
Okay.
years ago.
All right.
If
If
but I
someone
can
wants to take a
change
look
that.
at it, well, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes these are put in lawyery terms, but as I read it, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't feel right. So if you see that, it's great. If you guys read it and think the same thing, let's change it so we don't look silly for all. Other than that, it looked good, in my opinion.
Once again, we got the discussion before the motion. So
I'll make a motion to approve going
Sorry about that.
up for bid for new legal services.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second.
Now
Is
we're
there
done.
any discussion? I would say maybe in lieu of trustees Taylor always finding the detail, and thank you for that, maybe to allow the executive team to make whatever necessary changes to the RFP. Madam Clerk, would you agree
Yes,
to that?
that is my friendly amendment.
And I don't remember the support, but would you agree to that?
Yes.
Very good. Any further discussion?
No, like I said, just take a look at it. If it sounds right, great. Don't just use me as the grammar police, that's for sure.
Very good.
Just didn't look so.
Unless there's any other discussion, all in favor with an aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed with a nay, that is approved. We will keep you informed as this goes forward. Moving on, we have some special projects with our ARPA funds. So Madam Treasurer, I will let you light this candle.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Tim in just a minute, but just to let everybody know, we had committed all of our ARPA funds, the grant money to, we had a couple of projects with the fire department and some of their equipment, but our big one was the water main project. Over $1 million worth of ARPA funds are going to the water main project. That's wrapping up. It came in about $100,000 under budget. So we've got $100,000 of ARPA funds that has to be encumbered, has to be committed by the end of the year. If it can be spent by the end of the year, that's even better, but it has to be at least be committed to other projects by the end of the year. So there's a couple of things that we could do with it. We have the kayak and pavilion grant where we're going to have a township match to it. Probably wouldn't be spent until next year, but it would at least be committed by this year. The township match portion is $70,200, but also I had asked Chief and Tim to work together because we know that there's some issues with Station 7, the roof and some of the windows. So Tim has a presentation on everything fire department related. So I'll let him talk about that.
All right.
Mr. Mark, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, so this originally started out as we had some shingles missing on the lower half of the fire department over there, so we had a company come out here to give us an estimate on repairing that. We found a lot of rotten wood up there. And it came up that a lot of the shingles up there are bad. The side facing the west, it looks like it was done in 2009. The east side of the building looks like it's original shingles from when they built or put that other roof on there in like 92, I believe, somewhere right in that area. So we've got a lot of problems with them. I am going to have some pictures and a couple slides here. I just wanted to give you a little understanding there. So like I say, it was going to be $3,000 to make those repairs. Well, we found out there was more problems up there, I was going to budget it for next year to do this. When I found out, hey, we possibly have some funding, well, I'd rather skip spending the $3,000 and go right to the $60,000 to have the roof done. Makes more sense. We get the roof taken care of. If we don't take care of the roof, we're going to continue to have further problems down the road and underneath. So that's my number one priority. Like I say, it's about $60,000 what it's coming in at to replace the whole roof, except for that very front section. That was done recently, the lower half there. Don't know exactly what year that was, but that one's in good shape. It's the higher big roof that we're having a problem with. So let me show you on the next slide here the issue I got. This is where the shingles are missing. On the right there is the main area where we have problems where there's rot now. The one on the left, there's several areas like this on that same side. Once again, this is facing the west. Several areas where all the granules and stuff are missing off the shingles. And this is the east side where you can see it's the old 3-in-1 shingles, totally opposite shingles than what the first side was. These were the originals from when that roof was put on. It's way past its time to have some work.
Okay, Tim?
Yes.
Before you move on.
Yes.
Does that price include if they find any bad boards underneath, or they look?
I added some, the first bid, I'm gonna end up getting 3 or 4 bids, probably up to 5.
Okay, that's
The
where
first
your
one was
estimate 60 wasn't a
54.
bid. Okay.
I put it up to 60 so that we had some wiggle room there.
That's what I was thinking. If you're gonna come back, if we're gonna be that close in the budget,
Yep.
I'd rather, because just by glancing at it.
We do that with all of them. I add a little bit to it, just so because we
Just
can always
look at
use
the
that
bottom
money
of that.
somewhere else at the end. I'd rather not have to come back in front of you and ask for something that I missed, so.
Thank you.
Next thing on there is air conditioning for the front offices of the fire station area. Right now, we have, I think there's 4 window shakers, they call them in there, just the ones that are supposed to go in a window. They've been built through the wall, not properly installed, not the proper way to do the air conditioning, but it worked for many, many years. But they're very efficient now. So right now, we're actually turning up the air conditioning in the hall to try and get some cool air to them out there in there, plus running them ones there. This next picture here shows, that's standing in one of the offices this morning looking out the window where you can see the light all the way around it. And then this is the outside of it there where it's just kind of filled in there. The birds love to build nests in there. Just not a good way, not an efficient way to cool this area.
And we pulled a nest out of there with a lot of dead birds in it. So it's just
Then,
the opportunity to get it semi-clean for stuff.
So backing down to the next one that we really need to address over there is the windows. So the windows in the fire department section, once again, which is just wrapped around the front of the building there, there's I think 5, maybe 7 windows. That comes to a total of $21,000. Once again, there's a little padding in there for any extra. This morning I went over there to get some of these pictures, and when I'm standing there, I was standing in one of the offices, and I'm like, these darn boilers are still running, and because I could feel the heat. I reached out, boiler's ice cold. I'm like, it was actually coming off the window, so I had one of the guys go out and grab me the thermal imager. The window was reading 122 degrees on the inside, so that's how much heat's coming through these inefficient windows. This one, like I say, if I need to put this one off till budget time, I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, but it's something we will need to address at least next year if we do not do it with any of this extra money. Next one is, so that's just the pictures of the windows, so you can see that on the outside they're all faded, and they're a little oversized. The ceiling actually on the inside of the building is down about right where that shaded area is there. So I would shorten the windows up and we'd fill that in so our windows don't go above the ceiling from the inside, make it look a little nicer. Well, you can see it right there, nothing there, how the windows continue up above. So we make the adjustments, the appropriate adjustments there. And moving on. So the air conditioners for the admin building here, they were put in 1992, I do believe was the year. One of them out of the 4 have been updated. The other 3 have never been touched. They're showing great wear, which you'll see here in a minute. Actually, I can move over there. I'm afraid that what's going to happen is all of a sudden one day they're all going to go at the same time. I don't care if we don't replace them all, but I think we need to start looking at replacing one or two of them so that we're not getting hammered one time. They're $6,000 a piece. I threw them in there at $7,000 a piece because I got to cover electrical hookup and maybe some line sets and stuff. So once again, we're trying to make sure we have it covered the first go around. And the other one, the last one that I have is steel exterior doors. Once again, original for many, many years. I've got about 12 of them total that need to be replaced. Most of them I can get by with for now. They're not leaking too bad. 5 of them are critical that I'd like to see us get going on. The 5 are 2 on the fire station on the west end, which firemen use to come in there. And on a hot day like this, they can't open the doors. Somebody has to kick it from the inside, or the doors just slow up so much. So that's causing a problem over there. Our rental hall on the back there, let me get to the pictures on that. This is the door in our rental hall. If you look down there at the bottom, that whole bottom's rotted out of there where mice, anything else can just climb right under there. This is from the outside of that same door, and it's both sides. They haven't been maintained in years, so it's time for us to start soaking some money back into our buildings, protect our investment, and get that rental all use moving up. And the more things we do in there to improve it, I think we're going to be on the right track.
That's the back door to the big hall.
That is correct, yep. Like, that is the worst one. I mean, that is the worst one out of all the ones that I'm looking at replacing right now, but I didn't want to do 20 pictures for you, so I said, let's just go right to the worst. That being said, when we put it all together, if we were to accept all these projects, it comes to about $129,000. But like I said, right now, my critical area is the roof, and then you guys decide from there what you'd like to do, how'd you like to proceed. Either way, I'm going to come back to you in November if we don't, whatever we don't do now, just because I feel that we need to start upgrading these buildings and get them back into shape. It's taken us a lot of money, but it hasn't been, nobody's put money back into here in many years. That's what I've got.
Any questions for Tim?
Just a comment, when Tim was talking about getting a door for the back here in the admin building, I suggested it having a window. I've been here many times. I don't know who's on the other side of the door. I can go to the window, but if somebody was trying to be funny, they can skirt over and I can't see them.
That needs to be secured.
So I'll yell, yeah? It's never happened. It's always usually a firefighter or somebody legit coming over, but
But it can have a window.
it happens. Yeah, we can have a window too.
Yeah.
Well, we did put that in the
Be a
budget,
secure
in the
door.
bid also.
Okay.
It does have that with a small window.
Either way, so we have a listing of a lot of good uses for these funds. Number 1 priority would be the roof on station number 7, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that the folks have just received this information. So if you motion on anything that you would want is welcome, or we can sit on this for a month.
It's about $105,000 of ARPA funds, but we also received more marijuana excise tax money than we had originally budgeted for, so that did go into the fund balance as well. So
Do you know how much that is? Off the top of your head?
ish probably what we have left of it that we haven't already spent was maybe another 100,000.
More than covers this.
Yes, it would more than cover it. It's just the ARPA funds, like I said, has to be encumbered by the end of this year, and is best if we could also spend it by the end of this year. It doesn't have to be spent, but if we could spend it by the end of the year, that would be better.
If we were to encumber the ARPA funds to do the roof, can the roof be done this year?
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of my first questions.
Okay.
I feel confident I can get all these jobs, if not 100% complete, at least started. And like I said, because none of this stuff is special ordered. The slowest one I can see up there would probably be the doors. Air conditioners might take a little time because we're going to have a little white electrical to do with them, but like I said, I've got full confidence if I can get on. The sooner I get on and get the RFPs out there so I can get the bids back, get the approvals to them, then we can.
The biggest thing is to get it encumbered, like I said, we still do have time to spend it, but if we can get it done by year end, even better for us. But as long as it's committed, encumbered, that's the requirement by the end of the year.
And if
So-
we can comfortably do it,
Well, and if that total is 129,000 and we have to add 70 on for the boat launch for the pavilion,
Yeah, which I don't think is gonna happen until next year anyway.
so we could use the mayor, we could,
Would still be okay.
okay,
Still be okay.
so
It'll be under.
I can make a motion.
I would love a motion.
Okay, well then I'll make a motion to do the $129,000 worth of repairs to the roof, the exterior steer doors, the mini split, the new windows, and air conditioner for admin building, as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have support. Is there any discussion? Just that I'm very excited about this one. So, Ms. Sharon, may we, and I'm sorry, more, Mr. Mark, thank you so much for putting this